Welcome to another episode of this podcast with your host, Mary Miranda. Today, I want to talk to you about ghosting and everything that I have learned, what I coach women on, and actionable steps for you to start implementing so this feels less daunting and painful. And I feel like a lot of women experience a lot of pain, feeling like hopeless, feeling like they want to give up on dating, especially because they haven't really done the inner work to handle being ghosted. And this is very much connected to childhood core wounds. So I'm going to be talking about all of this. But I did a TikTok about ghosting, something that I come to understand why men ghost. And it went viral. So I wanted to share with you exactly what I said. And what I shared, it's realizing being ghosted is often not about you, but the other person not having the ability to communicate properly, handle difficult conversations, feel the discomfort of his emotions, and maybe him abandoning, rejecting you before he gets abandoned and rejected by you. They are all coping mechanisms to stay safe, not get hurt, and ultimately not experience intimacy in a relationship because love feels scary. He exited and disqualified himself, and this is a blessing in disguise. And this literally went viral, and so many women agreed with it. But I have been wanting to do a full episode on this. So I have a bunch of notes and things that can help you. The first thing is that a lot of women internalize this as it's about themselves. And I want to make this podcast because being ghosted is truly a hurtful thing to experience. And if you have an anxious attachment, it will activate your anxiety and your attachment style. And if you have unhealed core wounds, like an unmet needs from childhood or past experiences from exes or men that have ghosted you that you have not healed, the pain will feel more intense, especially if you have woundings around, like core wounds around abandonment, rejection, not feeling good enough or not enough or unworthy or unlovable or not chosen. Or also if you have wounding of like you don't belong, for example, that's one. That's one that I actually did have before. And unprocessed pain compounds. And this is what a lot of people don't understand. If you haven't done the work to heal your core wounds and unprocessed experiences from your past and your inner child and pretty much any past experience that you've had, whenever you get ghosted, you will carry that unhealed, unprocessed pain and emotions. And that's why it feels so intense. It feels like 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times worse than before. It's because of all the compounded and accumulated unprocessed pain and emotions. And a lot of people avoid doing the work because they don't want to feel their feelings, because it can be very painful to think about feeling your feelings and the pain and re-experience that. But once you process it, it is so liberating. And the next thing I want to talk about is obviously, like I said, a lot of people, women, I want to speak actually to women more than anything because this is my main audience. And I speak a lot about heterosexual cis relationships because it's what I understand the most, but this can be applicable to anyone that you are attracted to. But basically, just to make things a little bit easier for me, because of also my experience, and the women that come to me are women that date men. But this honestly can be applicable to whomever you date and are attracted to without having, I want to be inclusive, but this would make it easier. I just kind of wanted to say that out of respect. But for example, a lot of women internalize and turn this around that it's about them. Like, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough for that person. And I want to talk about what's it about you. It's not associated with your worth and value. That's the first thing. It has nothing to do with your worth and value, because your worth and value and enoughness and being lovable is innately yours since you are born. So this has nothing to do with you, how lovable, worthy, enough, deserving, or valuable you literally are. And another thing that you can ask a question about is, did you do anything for this person to ghost you? If not, then it's definitely not about you. Like if you were rude, mean, or did something like really bad, yeah, maybe there's a reason why they ghosted you. But if you feel like there's nothing that you have done or said, and there's no reason this man should have ghosted you, then you know that it's not about you, it's about them. And this is why that TikTok went viral, because it's literally most of the time, actually, all the time, it's going to be about the other person. And the next thing I want to ask you is, were your core beliefs, standards, and vision for life aligned with this person or not? Were your belief systems aligned, the way you believe about relationships, what you desire, your upbringing, what you believe about love? Was it aligned? Did you both want a relationship, like a committed relationship? Was that the goal about dating? Did you guys talk about this? Is your dating outcome or goal the same? This is where we need to understand if a person was aligned or not. Maybe in the date or in the conversations, you guys didn't really align and he just decided to ghost you instead of having the conversation with you. These are things that you also need to think about. And was there enough communication about the expectations of the relationship? Is a person looking for the same thing? And a lot of times, like I said, the person doesn't know how to communicate. They don't know how to have those hard conversations. The next thing I want to talk about is one that is probably the most common and the most painful, and is you got ghosted after being intimate with this person and sleeping with this person. And oftentimes it's way too soon. But I want to talk to you about this a little bit more. You are entitled to pleasure and to choose what sexual intimacy feels good to you. There is no shame around this. Don't let anyone shame you for how you choose to view your sexuality and be intimate with someone, or how fast. There is nothing wrong if you desire to sleep with someone too soon, or if it was mutual. The other side of this is if the person was lying about wanting a relationship and making you believe that he wanted a committed relationship and he saw you as probably a potential partner. He love bombed you and manipulated everything to get you into bed with false promises. That's where it's an issue. And you fell for it because it seems so real, so genuine, and you actually believed in him. And I'm sorry this happened to you. And I've had, honestly, this happened to me, and it's truly painful. And the feeling of being used and feeling like you were used and tossed, it's so real. And this is what I went through. I met someone that I thought was a great fit. He said he wanted a relationship. He even sent me screenshots of him sending to his friends saying, I'm going to make her my girlfriend. So I literally believed that it was going to happen. I literally believed that we were going to end up in a relationship. So he ends up ghosting me after that and pulling away. And I didn't understand what was happening. And I literally felt so used. But through my healing work and everything, I obviously eventually got over it, moved on from it, learned a lot from it. But I do have rules now, and I made a promise to not sleep with someone super fast unless I'm in a committed relationship. But before that, I need to know that we are on the same path, that we want the same things, that we are aligned in so many things, my standards, my values, my vision for life, how I see relationships, how I want to be treated. Like, I, first of all, before I even go on a date, I have I guess I don't want to say it's a vetting process, but it literally is, that I need to make sure this person is a good fit for me to even go out on a first date. And there's also this thing that there is no guarantee, even if you are in a relationship, that this person is not going to pull away or ghost after you are intimate with them. But at least you want to take your time and make sure it's aligned with you. If you choose to sleep with this person, like I said, don't let anyone shame you because you did it so fast. Like, you know what? You learn from this like mistakes. And especially if this has happened to you a few times, then you need to reassess, okay, what boundaries do I need to put around intimacy? You need to set boundaries around intimacy. What feels good for you? Is it the 1, 2, 3 month rule, or they call it the 30, 60, or 90, I guess, date rule of when you need to be intimate? It's literally whatever feels good to you. It's your life, it's your decisions, it's your choice. So choose what feels best for you. But have in mind, for example, if you have been ghosted after being intimate super fast, then this is where you need to put boundaries with yourself and with the other person. And you need to communicate that. You need to be clear on what you desire. Like I said, your values, your standards, your deal breakers, your non-negotiables, your red flags, and be upfront and clear on your dating profile and communicate with the person what you are looking for. I used to put, I'm not on dating apps anymore. It's been about a year, but I used to put in my profile, I'm looking for a serious committed relationship. I'm not here for hookups or one night stands. I literally used to put that. And obviously I don't use Tinder. I like my favorite app the last one that I used was Bumble. So I always put that in my profile, but at the same time, sometimes you don't really need to put it. You just kind of have to be very discerning on the men that you are matching with. And there is one thing that you have to read the energy of the person and their profile. Like, in the profile can tell you a lot of like probably red flags, deal breakers, things that you can say, you know what, this person is in alignment with me, this person political views and religious views, or something that they said in their profile is not in alignment with me. So then you don't match with that person. Only match with people that are literally aligned with what you desired. And if it's not on their profile and you match with them, you need to ask the questions to get to know them and understand if this person is even someone that is a good fit for you and worthy to even talk to you or go on a first date. So read the energy of a person. If he starts talking about intimacy too soon or insinuating things too soon, I'm good with the and huge on the witty banter. I love it, but in the sarcasm too sometimes. But those are where there's jokes that can be a little sneaky and deceiving. So you have to be very aware if they are starting to do jokes around intimacy or things like that, or I want to cuddle with you. I want to watch a movie on Netflix and cuddle with you. Like literally, they haven't even met you and they start insinuating those things. Those can be a little bit of a predictor. Is that, hey, is this how you talk to all women? You just want to cuddle with women that you have not even met in person? Like, what boundaries do you have with yourself? Is this what you do with everyone? So it doesn't feel special. It feels like he says this to everyone. So if decide if you want to continue engaging in conversation with this person or walk away, you set the boundaries, you set the tone for the conversation, you set the topics for the conversation. If he starts talking about intimacy too soon, for example, there was one person that I matched with and I was at the gym at the time and I responded something really quick, like, oh, I'm at the gym. And he said something like, oh, I would love to wake up and have energy, but I think I'm thinking about another type of workout. You know, those stupid jokes, I unmatched them immediately. I didn't even have to engage in conversation or snap at him or say anything. No, I'm just like, not my vibe. I don't like being told those things. Like it's so unattractive. It's such a turn off for me that I just unmatched the man. But I already kind of knew. And this was like probably like someone in their like early 40s. And I'm just like, are you serious? Is this how you lead a conversation? Like, I haven't even met you. So also be very discerning on what you desired. And if the conversation starts getting that way, just unmatch. And you can always, and this is how you practice boundaries. And this is how you practice communicating with people that you don't really know, and how you start feeling more empowered when you literally communicate back to them, hey, I'm not aligned with this. I wish you the best, but you are not someone that I'm looking for, or I'm not okay with the way you're talking to me. You literally start enforcing your boundaries. And this is how you build confidence in communicating with people instead of ghosting. And I literally unmatched that person and I guess in a way that could have been seen as ghosting. It was still in a dating app. It was like literally the first two messages that I sent with this man. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm not even going to waste my time. So sometimes, like, if it's on a dating app and I've never really engaged in a lot of conversation with a person, I just unmatch because I am just not aligned with, and I don't want to have to. And one of the things is like, okay, if I communicate back to him, I have to wait until that person reads the message, because if I unmatched him, he's not going to be able to see the chat. That's what I think. So oftentimes I'm just like, you know what? It's not even worth the communication with me for me. And it's only happened like twice that I've done that. And for me, it's just like, I'm not going to waste my time. I'm really not going to waste my time. But I also want to talk to you about some reasons why people might ghost. I don't want to make this the focus or for you to overanalyze and kind of dissect everything that I'm saying or try to find the reason why he ghosted. This provides sort of like a relief and but I don't want you to center this phase that you're going through or this situation around why he ghosted and try to get closure, because the closure happens within you without his reasons, without him giving you an explanation of why he ghosted you. I know a lot of women actually want the explanation, they want to have that closure because they just want to feel that relief, that inner peace. They want to feel like, oh, it's not about me. But when you literally do the inner work and you understand that it's not about you, then you don't really need the closure. The closure happens with yourself. But I still want to say some reasons why people might ghost. And this is something that I have experienced, my clients, and what I have studied or seen on, like, on different social media. And this is like, okay, this is a list of why some people could possibly ghost. Person doesn't have the ability to communicate properly. The person doesn't have emotional intelligence. The person is not obviously emotionally available for them to talk about feelings or how they feel. It's very uncomfortable and there's a lot of discomfort. Just the thought of them talking to you about why they don't want to continue pursuing the conversation or the connection brings a lot of discomfort and they're not ready to feel their feelings. A person avoids confrontation. Any conversation of ending something or bringing up a hard conversation about feelings can feel like confrontation. And if they're not emotionally available and don't know how to communicate, they're gonna ghost because it's preferable. A person cannot handle difficult conversations, which goes pair in pair with what I have said previously. The person doesn't want to feel the discomfort of his emotions. And I cannot stress this enough. Because they're not emotionally available. They don't know how to feel their emotions. This is why a lot of the avoidants can feel very stoic. They're not communicative, and they would rather back away, pull away, and ghost versus feeling the discomfort of having the hard conversation, talking to you about how they feel, and having that confrontational. It's not even confrontational, but that communication and especially waiting for the feedback of what you are going to say can be terrifying for so many people. The person might not be emotionally or mentally intimate with themselves, so they might lead with sexual intimacy, and when faced with what's required for a relationship, what truly takes to have a relationship, the type of intimacy, there's emotional, there's mental intimacy, there's a lot of intimacy that is non-sexual that takes to have a relationship. And if this person is used to connecting with you sexually only, then obviously when they're faced with the possibility of having a relationship with you beyond being intimate, they're not going to know how to act. This is a lot of the things that avoidants do because they are not used to that non-sexual intimacy. So you have to be very discerning. It's my primary method of connection with this person just sexual, or are there any non-sexual types of intimacy? You also have to understand that. Other things I have here is being an avoidant feels safer because they're the true effort and commitment required to have a relationship. They don't want to deal with it. So it's so much easier to walk away and to run away and not have the effort, the time and investment and intimacy required to have a relationship with you. Maybe love feels really scary. Maybe they might have experienced hurt, heartbreak, disappointment, and they just don't want to go through that again. So there's also like this part of being an avoidant that they don't want to face with the same emotions, especially a lot of men who happen to be heartbroken from an early age or something that happened in their younger years that they got really heartbroken and they really suffered through that. They're going to be afraid of experiencing the same emotions. This is why they're avoidance, because they detach from their emotions. They want nothing to do with that because it's so painful to feel our emotions. And we all know this. maybe the person is going through a life situation where they're ashamed, or maybe their mental health is not there. Maybe they have an illness or something that is embarrassing. And I was thinking about this because I matched with someone the last time I was on a dating app, and I had matched with that person previously, and always kind of like the conversation fizzled out. I saw that he was not available. I saw that his communication was not okay with me, and I just unmatched the person eventually. But every time I would go back to dating apps, he would try to match me. And I'm like, is this person like not okay? So the last time I matched again with this person, I think it was the third time, I was like, okay, well, I need to like let him know exactly why I won't go out with him again. Like I've already had this conversation. And he literally just explained to me like he was going through a life transition. He was trying to move from the south side of Chicago to be closer to where his son is. And he was trying to sell his house and do all this thing. And I was like, okay, I could understand that. So we started chatting, but then I noticed that he started pulling away again. And then when we had a date set up, he completely canceled. And he said that he had walked 30,000 steps and his feet hurt, always excuses. And he's like, when can I see you again? I'm like, okay, well, my schedule is very limited, but I think Sunday I could have time. Sunday rolls around, and I already knew I wasn't even going to get ready or anything. I was just like, okay, what's his excuse going to be? His excuse was that he has a skin condition and he was ashamed of it and he was embarrassed about it. This is why I'm bringing this up, because it could be like, it could be a little like some people don't want to talk about their illness or what they're going through. So then I said something like, oh, okay, well, I can appreciate you being honest about it and telling me, but I honestly didn't even realize you had that skin condition, where I don't know how to say the skin condition, so I'm not even going to say it. But I said to him, I also deal with health issues. And then he's like, how come you didn't tell me? I'm like, because this is not something I'm going to broadcast or put in my profile, because it's endometriosis. I do have some type of menstrual cycle issues. I have fibroids. So then I said that to him. And so then we communicated with that. But toward the end, I walked away because he was not consistent in his communication. He was not making plans. And I understood. I was like, this is not the person for me. He already canceled twice. And his lack of previous matches with me have shown me who he is. And I don't want a person like that. And he also has a son, and I'm child free by choice. And I said to him, you know what, I would prefer to date someone who has no children, because I've been through that before and it's very painful, and children can get attached to you. And he just said something to me like, well, the age range that you're looking for, it's going to be really hard for you to find someone who has no children. And I'm like, no, I